After the critical and commercial success of Life is Strange True Colors, Square Enix and Deck 9 were riding high. A new sequel seemed inevitable, and as early as 2021, rumors swirled about a new entry in the franchise featuring the return of Max Caulfield, lead protagonist from the 2015 sleeper hit Life is Strange. And fans were intensely curious to see how the new game would reconcile the multi-choice endings of the game that started it all. And in October 2024, for better or worse, fans got their answer. The result? A wildly divisive and bewildering entry that failed to live up to its name, failed to garner the critical and commercial success of previous entries, and ultimately turned off both fans and newcomers. Filled to the absolute brim with plot holes, poor characterization, and a stunningly confusing narrative, what we are left with is a cautionary tale of hubris in the gaming industry, and one that ironically may have ended the franchise that it sought to pay tribute to. Today, we're diving into the dubious duality of Life is Strange Double Exposure. Enter our protagonist, Max Caulfield, who we all know from the first Life is Strange game. So many reasons they shouldn't have done this. Much more on that as the video continues. In the beginning here, we see her breaking into an abandoned bowling alley. Max, who is now an award-winning photographer, loves to take photos of abandoned spaces. I do love this for her. There's all kinds of reasons they shouldn't have tried continuing a story with her, most of it involving the events and consequences of the first game and the aspects of time travel and how two different endings for the first game simply cannot be reconciled in a new game. But I really do love how they characterized Max in this game. I love the way they've remodeled her. I think she has amazing facial expressions. The micro expressions in this game are really strong. I love her outfits. I love the way that she talks. I really enjoy having Hannah Tell back in this, but it really fucks with a lot of stuff from the first game. And yeah, we'll get into it. By the way, did anybody notice something missing at the start of episode 1? You probably didn't, but since I've been playing all of these games back to back to back, one noticeable thing that's missing from the start of Double Exposure is the title card at the beginning that says, "This is a choice-based game. Your actions will have consequences. Choose wisely." This game doesn't have that. And you know what? I think that's telling, because one of the biggest criticisms of this game is that there's virtually no choices and your choices don't matter at all. I think it says a fucking lot that it doesn't have that title card that the other 4 games have all started with. She is also joined here by Sophie, a character whose favorite form of communication with people is bully banter, something we're going to talk about a lot in this game.
Aw, it's cute. I think it looks like an off-brand M&M.
Yeah? I think it looks like Mr. Peanut on meth, and I hate it.
This game is also wildly buggy. I have no idea why her voice was muffled there, but that happens a few times.
Shoes? Are shoes lonely?
Super lonely. Sans feet. Shoes were the subject of the first photo of mine your mom ever saw.
This year's Caledon University artist in residence sent my mom foot pics?
That is, some exposition.
Oh my god.
What?
I have played this game 3 times now, and I'm sitting here watching the playback for this scene, and I'm thinking, when did that happen? I just played this chapter yesterday. This game is so strange. I didn't even remember that this happened. I've seen this 4 times now. I mean, there's a lot of forgettable stuff in this game, but yeah, I guess this is just the first.
My powers might not last. That's okay. We will. Chloe!
Matt. You dead?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no. Not dead. Just thinking.
Max and Safi get a drink at the Snapping Turtle. This is the on-campus pub. It's a really cool location. It's the coolest location in this game. It's the only cool location in this game. It's also a space that they seriously overuse. This game feels so low budget. There's like 3 or 4 sets and everything takes place in them. And this is the most unique and engaging space of all, but you still get tired of it by chapter 5. It has charm, but how to say this? Much like the way that actual university and college campuses are designed, there is a certain vague, sterile, corporate quality to this space. I don't know how else to describe it.
Cosmopolitan for Max, vodka shot for Safi, very on brand in both cases. Hey, you look really good today.
We meet Amanda, one of Max's potential romance options, and she is a somewhat prickly character. And there is an unfortunate amount of that in this game.
You know she was flirting with you, right? Didn't you go on a multi-year cross-country road trip? Did you get laid even once? Safi?
Again, with the shit exposition.
Would it kill you to open up the teeny tiniest bit? What happened?
All right, so one of the biggest points of contention in this game, undoubtedly, for very good reason, is because there are 2 endings to the original Life is Strange, Sacrifice Chloe or Sacrifice Arcadia Bay, they need to reconcile that in this sequel. So what do is they ask you early on whether or not to establish whether Chloe died or the 2 of you broke up. I don't really think either of those versions satisfy anybody, especially if you were a fan of the romantic aspect of Max and Chloe's relationship. Because if you chose We Broke Up, which is what I chose the first time, because I wanted to see how this would play out with Chloe still being alive, as I'm sure many players were also very curious, right? It sucks. It sucks. You see the breakup texts and they're awful. You see her make social media posts, but she doesn't really interact with you. You get to see her interact with Victoria more than she interacts with you, basically. It just really didn't work. There is a big rumor that behind the scenes, and again, this is just a rumor, but apparently they were having open pitches for what to do for the new Life is Strange. They knew they wanted to bring Max back, but they did not have good ideas for it. They were just taking open pitches. And apparently they were all trying to figure out how they were going to get around the issue of the 2 different endings. So somebody pitched, what if this game had to do with world jumping and Max could live in 2 timelines, one where Chloe is alive and one where Chloe is dead. And that idea, I guess through what you would basically call a long form game of telephone, eventually turned into Max can jump between 2 worlds, but not for the reason that it was proposed, which was to reconcile the 2 different endings.
She died my senior year.
So then we meet Reggie and Diamond, 2 of the most nothing burger characters in this whole franchise. They're supposed to be students who take her workshop. It's really weird that we never see her do her classes or anything, so this feels very detached. But these characters suck. They are just here for filler. Also, I cannot get past the idea in my mind that Reggie has such a rat face. Why does this guy just look like the first character who would snitch on somebody in an old mafia movie? It wasn't me, Max. It wasn't me. But I'll tell you, I do know who killed Safi. It was you. It was you, Max. That doesn't make much sense. And it's not going to for the rest of this game. Here we see Amanda exhibiting some of her charm.
Out of the way, freshman!
But I guess Max likes a little bit of a bully, as we kind of already know.
Wow.
So should we be worried about this crazy asteroid hitting Earth?
So Max, Safi, and Moses go up to the rooftop to look at some stars. Moses works in the astronomy department. He bothers me so much because he is so fucking boring. And I just hate that in this game, all the new characters are either very boring or very rude and passive aggressive. It eats me up.
Grab a mug, Max.
Watch out, everybody. Huge choice coming up here. You have to choose a mug to drink out of. This action will surely have consequences. No, it actually flashes that this action will have consequences, Icon. Are you fucking joking me? What are the possible consequences of this action. Okay, according to Reddit, if you choose the toilet mug, Moses will give you a look. Wow, super big fucking consequences over here. Watch out.
You know me. I love my potty humor.
The only thing this does is further prove that Moses is a fucking drip. I cannot stand this character.
What should we say?
Damn, I think I have hypothermia.
Moses has hypothermia.
I know that this is a nitpick, but how the fuck did these three non-verbally agree to say Moses has hypothermia in unison? Are they a fucking hive mind? All right, I know I already went over this one in my double exposure roast, so I'm not going to beat this dead horse too hard, but Max's line read on this, I'm dying to know what Safi's good news is just terrible.
I'm dying to know what Safi's good news is. Maybe I can somehow convince her to spill.
I really do feel my conspiracy theory about this game is that they made it in completely linear fashion. So because it was very early into the production process, Hannah hadn't really been warmed up as an actor. I completely blame the directors, 100%. There are just bits of this game, especially in the first chapter, that feel like a rough take. It feels like a first take from an actor, and then they were like, yeah, that's good, roll with it. Giving me really big Before the Storm vibes.
Me and Chloe used to daydream about the adventures we'd have under skies like this. I love that you're my partner in crime.
As long as you're my partner in time.
You know, it is just weird to me that they redubbed Chloe's lines from the first game with the new actor who replaced her in Before the Storm. They've gone back and forth on this quite a bit. This whole debacle over Square Enix apparently just hating Ashley Birch, having some kind of a personal beef with her, most likely because she stood up for herself during the voice actor strike. So they've decided to punish her ever since. Even though they also brought her back for the Before the Storm DLC. So, I mean, think about that. They had Ashley Birch in the first game, and then they replaced her in Before the Storm, but then they added a bonus episode to the Before the Storm where they brought her back. And then in both the True Colors Wavelengths DLC, as well as here in Double Exposure, they used the replacement actor from Before the Storm. What the fuck, Square Enix? Just what the fuck?
All right, Sniper Max. Let's lock and load. Now I've just got to deliver this to Safi.
Oh yeah? Where is that snowball? Where is it? This interaction between Max and Moses is so fucking dry. I have no idea why they even made this character. What are we getting from this?
Return of the Living Dead is a zombie apocalypse masterpiece. I've seen it probably 100 times.
So you're gonna watch a movie about the apocalypse during the apocalypse?
Well, yeah. That's why it's a good pick. Why fight the end of the world when you can embrace it?
I guess.
Being awkward is not really good characterization in my opinion, because I also think that just making a character socially awkward is kind of an easy way out. That's not complex characterization. You know, it never really explains why Max gets this headache when she takes a picture of the moon. This is one of the many little things that's never really explained. And you're going to notice a huge pattern with this game is it shows you things, but then it doesn't explain them. So it kind of just leaves it up to the viewer to infer its meaning. And I hate that because a lot of these things, while they're visually interesting, do require a hardwired explanation in order to make this game work. And this game doesn't work. So Max decides to go on a walk and see what Safi is up to. Safi has been very secretive the whole day about some apparently good news that she has not shared.
I'm glad Moses invited me out tonight.
I can't recall.
Caledon's a beautiful campus, but
It's even better when it snows.
It's funny that Max says that because I actually think the cold winter atmosphere ends up working against this game tonally. It kind of just adds to the metaphorical coldness of this story.
Wow, Sophie. What did Mr. Snowman ever do to you?
How would Max know that Sophie did that to that snowman? So Max rolls up to the observatory outlook to find that Sophie has been killed. This is the murder mystery that is going to set off the plot for this game, and then it's just going to randomly go away somewhere around episode 3 or 4. So we have that to look forward to. Look at how shitty her photo wall is here. The Life is Strange games have really evolved backwards. Let's take a comparison between what her photo wall at school, when she was just a photography student, looked like versus how it looks now as an artist in residence at an arts college. Deck 9 has gotten so unforgivably lazy. The game can't really come back from this. Sure, the facial animations are great and the cutscenes look really good, but the actual world is crap. It's lazy. It's so phoned in. Oh my god, the backwards evolution of these journals. Honestly, why even keep them at this point? Why not just get rid of it entirely? You have the text messages, you have the social media app. It's clear the developers didn't give a shit about the journals. You can see how they've slowly downgraded over the years, and now we've just hit rock bottom. Why is this giving me Funko Pop version of Life is Strange?
Hey, Amanda. Welcome to hell.
Oh, honey. We're doing dramatic goth kid grief.
I really hate this line of dialogue. I find it so insensitive, and it leads more into bully banter than actual sympathy for Max's loss. I have such mixed feelings on Amanda. Most of them are actually kind of leaning towards negative because as I'm playing back this game for the third time, I'm thinking about every line that she says, and the thing that's really fucking bothering me is more than half of them are bully banter, snark banter, or just kind of antagonistic or hostile.
Bitch, shut your dumb eyes.
I would never let a crush talk to me that way. This isn't the Illusions Lounge.
Bitch, shut your dumb eyes.
She's not kind enough. It doesn't work for me.
Now how about that photo? That's what I'm talking about.
All right, this may sound silly to hear, but stick with me. Hear me out. I literally have this exact Polaroid camera, and in Canada, it is almost $15 for a pack of 10 photos. It is ridiculous that Amanda is asking you for 2. You see how at the end it says there's only 8 left? That's because Max had a brand new pack and Amanda just came over and said, take a pretty picture of me. And then as soon as she gets in her hand, she goes, take another pretty picture of me. And who do you think is gonna keep those printed photos? Amanda. This is actually a great example of why you never bring one of these cameras to a party, because people just don't understand that you are not there to hand out free, expensive physical prints for other people's amusement. If you have a Polaroid camera like Max does, it's so that you can take photos of interesting things and keep them, not so that you can take fucking selfies of other people. I know this may sound like a nitpick, but considering the fact that this game has a brand tie-in with Polaroid, I think it matters because it also speaks to Amanda's character.
Black coffee?
Sure thing.
I wish you would have never come back to Arcadia Bay. You're the real story.
I haven't stayed in one place this long since, well, it's been a while. I almost forgot what belonging feels like. And now, this. Now Sophie. I should have known better than to hope things would be different. Sometimes, it feels like I'm cursed. Like, no matter matter how fast and far I run, the past is still gonna find me.
Some of this hurt won't ever quite fade. Like, call me conflicted, call me undone. I've been in
Something else I want to point out here is that double exposure, unlike True Colors, does not have an option in the menu system to disable or mute copyrighted music. They added these nice features and then they took them away. Could this game feel more low effort? And now we enter a location that is no contest the most boring fucking place in the entire franchise, the admin hall. We spend such a dumb amount of time in this nothing space. I don't know what made them think that this would have been an entertaining place at a college to have a major setting in. If you went to university or college, is there any aspect of your experiences that really remind you of spending a bunch of time in the admin hall? I mean, maybe if you were put on probation a lot.
Howdy, Vin.
Howdy.
So now we have the displeasure of meeting Vin, one of the worst characters in this game. I know I keep saying stuff like that, but it keeps being very true. Vin is a huge dick. Almost everything he says in response to Max is snarky. Just more of that snark bantering that brings down this whole fucking game. Okay, when I was playing this game, I was taking my notes, and after I wrote the part that said snark bantering, I looked down at my notes and I started laughing out loud because when you look at the words, snark bantering 100% sounds like the name of a fictional character from a really bad new Star Wars movie. Snark bantering, the lead of the Glup Shido clan. Coming 2026.
How dare she use her phone without your permission?
You think this is an easy gig? Kahuna's got a social calendar like a TikTok influencer.
Oh, okay. I have to say 100% without a doubt, that has to be a top contender for most cringe-worthy dialogue in the entire Life is Strange franchise. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, because that one is real fucking high up there for me. What out-of-touch 50-year-old wrote that?
I've got a package waiting for me down the hall. You're welcome to get it for me.
Fetch mission! Sorry, that soundbite makes a lot more sense if you've seen my review of Before the Storm. If you get a sec, maybe check it out if you get a sec. Maybe check it out if you get a sec. Oh my God, I hate doing calls to action.
Gwen? All good?
Max. So, I'm a hugger. Are you a hugger?
Max runs into Dr. Gwen Hunter. I think she is one of the few likable characters in this game, but she kind of gets shafted too. She sort of gets unnecessarily shit on and thrown into the middle of drama, when at the end of the day, I do think she was just trying to do the right thing. Even the most likable characters in this game just don't get a lot of great stuff to do. So when you meet Dr. Gwen, she basically just asks you to break into a locked bookcase to get a book, which is, just another fetch mission. Oh, and it's solved with a spoon. Apparently, spoons pick locks in this universe. I cannot get over how fucking bad this memoriam looks. Just like the journals, the quote handwriting is just blocks, paragraphs of text, and then some are put on a slight rotation, and they're all basically the same handwriting font, and it looks so bad and so unfinished. You cannot convince me this memoriam that's set up was not just a rough version they made in production design that they completely forgot to finish.
Here you go. Saved you the trip.
What's this? Don't tell me we're becoming friends.
Woohoo, more bully banter.
What do you want?
What do I want?
Sure. Nothing's free. At least, not if you're smart.
Add in some condescension for extra spice. So the big rumor with the character of Vin is that he was not originally written or included in this game as a romance option, but apparently more than halfway through development of this game, they thought it would be weird to maybe only have Amanda. I think it's so weird that every game has had 2 romance options, and allegedly they didn't have 2 until they were more than halfway through this game, and they thought, what can we do to quickly patch this? We need a male romance interest, because apparently, allegedly, word is that Square Enix didn't want to become known for making, quote, the gay game. Allegedly, insider news from Square Enix is that they kind of resent that people look at the Life is Strange franchise as a queer franchise, which it fucking undoubtedly is. So apparently their solution was to make Vin one of the worst characters, a romance option, which is why it doesn't fit into the narrative, which is why she has no conclusion with him at the end of the game. In terms of their relationship, it just makes no sense, and this guy sucks.
I wonder if Moses has gotten his hot chocolate yet.
Watch out, everybody. Huge decision coming up. Do you get Moses a hot chocolate? Or do you not get Moses a hot chocolate? Then we meet another student, Loretta. Loretta is a podcaster, which should automatically make her the most insufferable character in this game, but somehow she isn't. I really don't understand what they were doing with this character. I truly don't. And when I made my last video, I talked about how, to me, it just didn't make sense. It seems so left field that very early into the game, you're given an opportunity to lower her grade. And then also throughout the game, there are, I believe, 3 different times that you can essentially punish her by accidentally confusing her with the Loretta from the wrong universe, and therefore doing something shitty to her when she didn't deserve it. Loretta is trying to get to the bottom of what happened, and I absolutely don't blame her because Safi's death is very suspicious. I am personally unclear in how the game is actually trying to depict her. I can't really say if the game's trying to depict Loretta as some bad faith person who's trying to milk this potential murder for content. You know, we don't really see any of that. So I can't really say if that's what she's doing. Or is she actually trying to potentially put away the person who murdered Safi if she was murdered, which means she's doing the right thing. We honestly don't know, and I don't get why this character is here, but from what I can discern, we're supposed to dislike her. And then in the final chapter, there's a choice option that says something like, Loretta continues to pursue stories just as doggedly as ever. God fucking knows what that was supposed to mean.
Safi weighs heavily on us today. In fact, my best-selling novel speaks to this precise moment. Safi disliked my book, ironically, but sales don't lie.
Lucas Colmenero is a writer and literary professor at this school, and he's just obnoxious, vain, obsessed with talking about his book, clearly involved in this, and just meant to be the most hateable character. Serious question, could they be laying it on any thicker that this guy is meant to be an asshole and clearly the bad guy of this story? When did the writing for Life is Strange get this pathetically cheap? Max and Moses have a little sit down heart to heart, I guess. And what I'm just really noticing when I watch this scene and you look at Max and then you look at him is I find there to be a pretty big discrepancy in the animation style amongst the characters, which is to say, some of them, like Max, look really realistic, and then some of them, like Moses and Lucas, look like Fortnite skins. Max looks like a semi-photorealistic person, and Moses looks like a Sims 4 DLC pack. So Moses leaves, but then suddenly she's hearing Moses' voice. It turns out that she's hearing him from an alternate universe. She gains this pulse power where she can see what's going on in the other parallel reality.
It's not rock, paper, scissors. Any color jack can beat any other with the right cards. Yeah. Anytime. Later.
She goes past this snow fort, which she can't move around, which is obviously a result of really bad programming. Because if she's in this universe and there's no snow fort, she should be able to walk through that space. But when she uses the pulse and then she sees things that aren't there, her character physically gets blocked by and can't move around them. How much fucking time did they spend on this game? I really want to know. Plot elements leaked from this well over 2 years ago. So they've been actively making this game for more than 2 years. And that frankly just shocks me. I hate when you have to follow NPCs that are this slow. Like, come on, bro! Episode 1 ends with Max using her newfound powers to open a portal into a parallel universe where Safi is still alive. This is, in my opinion, a pretty great inciting incident for what could have been a really fucking solid game that builds on the consequences of the first one and further shows that Max sort of, can't escape the idea of her powers and how they're always going to be intertwined with fate and all those kind of things. And, the insanity of having to try and solve your friend's murder with your friend and then having to grieve somebody who you've lost, but they're also still technically there. All these fascinating, really cool ideas. I think this was a genuinely great way to end episode 1, but it really goes downhill as the game progresses, particularly I think starting in episode 3, but we'll get there. So, does double exposure improve in episode 2? Well, the title menu for it still has a flickering problem 5 months later, so if that's any indication, yeah, we're in for it.
What the fuck is happening?
So Max, who is still in shock and is in the living world, as the game is now going to call the two universes living world and dead world, which is easy to remember, not exactly creative. Doesn't sound great, but whatever. I mean, that's not really the point. Max is shocked and delighted, so she's still feeling all cloudy when she gets lunch with Safi and Safi's mother, who is the head of the school. It was at this point that I just made a very early guess that her mother would in some way be the villain or be in on this. And spoiler alert, but I was completely right. These games are just... This game is just a little too obvious, a little too fast to show its hand, and that really hinders the game from feeling surprising when you find out in the end that her mother, who's the head of the school, shocker, might have had something to do with this scandal happening at the school. So Max finds out that in every location there are conveniently anywhere between 1 and 3 of these glowing balls. I don't know what you want to call it. Temporal shift zone, black hole, hurricane hole, whatever. The game, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, the game straight up never explains this. I've never really thought about it. I mean, it just is what it is, so I guess I accepted it. But what is this? There's just like 2 or 3 glowing balls in every room that she can use to jump over, and they all happen to be conveniently at some kind of an architectural angle so that she doesn't get caught when she does it, even though she absolutely would. So basically, you can always jump back and forth between worlds at one of these shift spots, and this gets old fast. By the end of this scene, I'm over it. You have to grab a stepping stool, which is, obviously just another fetch mission. So you basically have to do this hop back and forth thing just to get the stool. It's exhausting, it's annoying, and this is about the most creative thing they could think of to do with this shifting power. And it blows a lot. It's like chores. My least favorite thing in video games.
Wow. I thought you got lost in a blizzard. Dropped your phone down a bottomless pit. Something.
There's more of that charming snark that I guess Max loves so much.
Send me the bill for the windshield, please, Safia.
Windshield?
Another piece of shit pie. Someone... Hold on, it's easier if I just show you.
So in the living world, somebody has thrown a cow skull from the snapping turtle through Safi's windshield. This one throws you for a loop because it's not who you think it is, so to the point that even when I'd played the game twice, I totally forgot the person who actually did it because I definitely thought it was somebody else, even though it explicitly says who actually does it. It's the reasoning for why the person who does this is balls out nonsensical. So look forward to that too. It's very worth noting that throughout this entire game, there's these little NPC story arcs, just like in True Colors. I like them a fucking lot less in this game because they spent such a weird amount of time on these NPC side stories and not on the main plot, and they're all fucking bullshit. But look at this. Pretty much every one of these NPC side stories, no matter who's talking or whether anybody is talking, both NPCs' mouths will be moving at the same time.
We're using it. We'll put it back when we're done.
You're using it?
Yup.
They are definitely up to something with that key.
Max uses the stool to climb up and check out the cow skull in the universe where it wasn't thrown through the windshield. She says this utterly laughable, ridiculous line.
Is that a signature? Ugh, this is so stylized I can barely read it. Lucas Colmenero.
What are you talking about, girl? That's in like Arial. You can't read Arial bold? There is such a heavy disconnect between the writers and the production design of this game. It is very clear the departments were very segmented for this game.
Have you had any skulls go missing lately?
Wow. That's an extremely specific question. And I can't believe the answer is yes.
Yeah, obviously Max was asking because she knows what's up. Why did Amanda respond to that? Like, what a left field question. But also, gee golly, now that you bring it up, look behind you. Does everyone have the IQ of a toddler in this motherfucking game? Ooh, I am getting stressed out. I'm getting stressed out. I'm only in episode 2. I'm getting stressed. I need to take a break. I need a snack.
What is going on?
What if it's not just a prank? What if this Safi is in danger too?
So Max is now on a quest to find out who threw the cow skull through Safi's window, because surely that will help solve the murder in the other world. It actually doesn't, and it's not related at all. The reason that the cow skull gets thrown actually doesn't have anything to do with the murder.
Holy fucking shit. Just when you thought you'd seen it all.
Jeez, there you are. Thought I was gonna freeze to death.
When I woke up, Safi was gone forever. And now, I am in a whole new world of questions. Should I be worried? The last time I had powers, everything went to complete and utter shit. Vin's the head honcho of Abraxas. I could start with him. Maybe I should do a little digging into Gwen Hunter too. She was acting pretty odd earlier. Time to start asking questions.
So she's trying to get answers from Vin, but Vin is distracted because he has lost his cell phone. The Abraxas Society, oh, have I mentioned them? It's like a dumbass version of the Vortex Club, but completely and totally and utterly fucking meaningless in this game. The Abraxas Society seems to think that maybe Diamond has taken his cell phone. There's some terribly stupid, really unimportant subplot about how Diamond and Vin are going head to head for who's going to be the leader of the Abraxas Society. Diamond doesn't have the phone, so you carry on your way. There is no sound to your footsteps as you're running all over campus, which I find hilarious because in the menu, there is literally a footsteps volume slider. They made a sound mix just for the footsteps, but she ain't got none here.
Surely another minute and a half isn't going to taint the building with my presence.
Still in the living world, we see that Dr. Gwen Hunter has been fired, unceremoniously let go for reasons as yet to be known. Then she runs into Lucas, the biggest shithead in this game, and she wants to get inside his briefcase. So of course, what is there but a key? The laziest game mechanic in the franchise that they just can't stop using. And boy, does Double Exposure sure love its keys and locks. Max finds a restraining order against Safi issued by Lucas. She questions him about it. He says that his son has been telling him horrible things that he could have only known if someone was dripping poison in his ears. So Lucas is pretty sure that Safi has been telling fucked up things to his son to relay them back to his ex-wife to really mess up his divorce as well as his relationship with his son. He asks you not to text a photo of the restraining order to Safi. Whether you choose to do it or whether you choose not to do it, has very little bearing. If you choose to do it, he'll be mad at you later and he'll send you a text that says, I'll never forget it, because it's just one of the dumbest texts to get. It just says, "You armed my enemy, Max Caulfield." So yeah, big time consequences for that.
All right, Hacker Max. Let's go. Wait, this is Safi's publisher. These emails are from way back.
Max snoops through Gwen's office and finds that Gwen, who was Safi's mentor, who was the person that encouraged her to write a book, had gotten Safi's book deal canceled. We learned that the big secret Safi had was that she was getting her book made, but now we're finding out that Gwen interfered with the publisher and essentially told them to cancel the book. The plot thickens. Max continues to do her seemingly endless rounds on campus visiting different people, goes to Vin, who has recovered his phone but is not able to log into it. Apparently he has forgotten his own passcode. He's acting a little off, a little suspicious.
You still want to get that drink?
Come again?
You told me your favorite liquor earlier. I assumed that was a not-so-subtle hint.
Oh, right. Bougie Japanese brandy or whatever.
Didn't you say whiskey?
So you were paying attention. Well done, Caulfield. You passed my test.
The other Vin's not talking. But Dead World Vin might.
Max goes to the other Vin, who is visibly drunk. He says this line, which genuinely gives you psychic damage when you hear it.
Come on. Illicit day drinking with your coworkers is sexy. Be sexy, Max.
Far be it from me to pass up an opportunity to accrue more sexy points.
Measuring sexiness with imaginary points. Not sexy.
I want to strangle him. Max asks him for his passcode, and he, like an idiot, gives it to her. I don't know. If I was somebody in this game with half a brain, I would think that she's going to remotely hack me. If anyone came up to me and said for reasons they won't tell me, they need my fucking phone passcode, I would obviously assume that they're going to do something nefarious with it, that I'm going to get hacked. But he just does it because we need him to just accept it to move the plot forward. We need her to use her power to go into the other world to get Vin's passcode so that she can go back into the other world to unlock Vin's phone. That's how this whole game goes. It's just a bunch of boring back and forth fetch missions. But now you have to search every room twice. Max looks in Vin's phone and finds photos of Vin and Safi in bed together, the plot chickens. Out in the courtyard, Reggie starts having a panic attack because he says that he saw himself up on the observatory lookout. Max runs up the trail, but there is a fallen tree in her way. This is a really tired game mechanic they're going to use for the whole game, where you just have to go in and out of universes to clear paths, and it really adds absolutely nothing to the game. So you just go in and out to walk down a path. She gets to the top where she sees Gwen.
Trying to avoid me, Max?
Trying not to bother you, actually.
You smoke some weed with her, you know if you're not a square.
Thanks.
You hack up a lung because you are a square.
What do you say about something like that?
Gwen hands Max a USB stick that apparently has evidence from the school of Gwen dealing drugs to students. The plot thickens.
Gotta take catharsis where you can get it.
Major choice here. Do you stand with Gwen or do you save the footage? Now, this one pisses me the fuck off because this heavily affects the ending in the exact opposite way that you think it would. Spoiler alert, but basically, if you want Gwen to stand with you at the end, if you want her there in that final scene where she brings everyone all together and, I don't know, tells them about her powers, she rallies everyone together in that ending scene. If you want Gwen to be there, if you want her to stand with you, you have to not stand with Gwen. You have to save the footage. This drove me fucking insane because you keep thinking it's meant to be the opposite. So in this gameplay, I wanted Gwen to be there in the final scene. So I'm like, well, of course, if you want Gwen to stand with you, when she goes to burn that USB drive, you stand with Gwen. You show that you're on her side. No. If you want Gwen to stand with you at the end, you have to save the footage, which wildly pisses her off, and then you have to meet her at the Snapping Turtle, give her the USB drive, and tell her to keep fighting her firing, which I guess encourages her to stand with you at the end. And that pisses me off so much. In order for her to stand with you, you have to not stand with her. Like, sure, that makes total sense. If you work for fucking Deck 9.
Is it true they canceled Safi's book deal?
So, she told you?
Word travels. You were her mentor, right? Do you know why?
In my experience, some mysteries are better left that way.
I get why Gwen would come up here. It's amazing how peaceful this place feels. Something bad is happening here. Even after everything I saw on the path, I can't explain any of it.
Wait a second, is that 2 music tracks running at the same time? It is, isn't it? There's a backing track and then there's a music track, and they accidentally got laid over each other here. Oh, ridiculous. Max sees flowers around where Safi died. This is another one of those visual things that is straight up never explained. I will not get into an argument with anybody about how this has meaning. It has 0 fucking meaning. Please stop giving these developers credit when they have clearly faltered, when they clearly just set things up with 0 payoff. Again, I think this must be the result of writing versus production design, because it's a very visually pretty idea, but it makes absolutely no fucking sense. We never come back to it. Nothing else like this happens in the rest of the game. Loretta shows up and gives us some hot goss.
Maya Okada, one of Safi's classmates during undergrad. They were friends. Then, Maya died a couple years back. Suicide, apparently.
You think it's a pattern?
Max joins Moses back in his office. Moses is being questioned by Alderman, the detective who is investigating Safi's death. Like I've said before, pretty much anytime they depict a police or authority figure in a Life is Strange game, their characters are wooden and hollow as fuck, and this guy is no exception. There is a very long, convoluted puzzle here where you have to find Safi's camera. Moses admits that he took Safi's camera and then hid it in some kind of a constellation puzzle. So you have to go through all of that bullshit. You have to use a key at some point.
I need a faster way to get Moses a wrench.
Fetch mission! You hop back and forth between worlds using your glowing balls. Moses is standing right behind you, but he never notices, even though you have to do this about 5 or 6 times.
So if this is Orion, then safe is... boom.
You have to use the powers to move this unassembled telescope, and then you pop it over into the other universe, which means that in Living World, Moses was just working on building an entire telescope, and then at the end of this chapter, when you walk away, he goes back into his office to see that it's all disassembled and put back in boxes. Do we ever come back to this? Does Moses ever say anything about this? Are there any consequences? You fucking bet not. Max gets grilled by Alderman. He asks if he can trust you or not. It does not fucking matter what you choose here. It will have no bearing except for a slight dialogue change when you see him again in episode 3. You and Moses head back to your room to look at the photo on Safi's camera, and finally some interesting shit happens. But not before the introduction of the cat DLC. If you were a sucker like me and you paid for early access and the Super Deluxe whatever edition, there is a cat that appears at your door. You can choose one of 3 cat colors and 3 cat names. This will have no bearing on anything and not even satisfy the most avid of cat lovers.
Hard to believe that would be the last time we were all together.
That's the truth. What a crew we were.
That's debatable.
Hey, look. She took one more photo.
Sneaky girl. What is this?
Now, for as many problems as there are in Double Exposure, this ending scene for episode 2 is not one of them. This scene goes the fuck off!
You killed her?
That isn't me in the picture. I swear.
Yes it is, Max!
It's Photoshop! A deepfake, maybe. I don't know.
You sold me out to Alderman. You were covering for yourself.
I don't understand this any more than you do. But we can figure it out. Just give me some time.
Just like Before the Storm, the music for this game is excellent, but it kind of carries the game. It's not great without it. But this whole ending scene, this revelation, and this song, 10 out of 10 for me. Max pours over all of the evidence. She is still very much in shock over this photo of her allegedly killing Safi. You're told to make it make sense. This part does absolutely nothing. You learn nothing new. Max goes to get a coffee when who should knock on her door but Alderman. Alderman threatens her while also for some reason looking in the exact opposite direction, conveniently in a way that lets Max hide the photo.
None of this makes any sense. What happened that night? Why the fuck am I in this picture?
Would you believe me if I said we actually never get a clear answer on this?
The old me would have just jumped back in time to the moment this photo was taken. Maybe I still could?
Max uses her rewind powers to jump back in time. Her rewind powers don't exist anymore, but then also do exist, but only when it's convenient for the plot. Max is now back in time. She is indeed aiming the gun at Safi. Safi says maybe we're cursed just like Maya, the student who committed suicide that Loretta has mentioned. The plot thickets.
Maybe we are cursed. You, me, and Maya.
Loretta just told us who Maya was, so Max should canonically know, but for some reason she doesn't, because whenever the plot needs, everybody gets a case of the dum-dums. Max wakes up with a nosebleed and is like, wow, that was crazy. Surely I'm not going to shoot her, am I? Jury is out on that one for the entire game. Max goes back to the observatory lookout to prove to Moses that she didn't murder Safi and that she has powers. Along the way, we check her texts, and the most unrealistic thing about these social media posts are that boomers like Joyce are talking online with perfect grammar and syntax and only one period at the end of a sentence instead of 4 or 5.
What if he doesn't come? I couldn't blame him. I killed his best friend.
Diamond knows where I am and who I'm meeting.
Moses asks you to prove your powers by jumping into the other universe and observing him while he does a stance and quotes a line. You can get this 100% wrong and it'll still work out. If you get the phrase completely wrong, he'll just say this shit.
Wrong. Extremely wrong. But I did just watch you vanish into thin fucking air.
Yeah. Remember when these games actually used to have consequences to actions? Alderman shows up and touches the other world's version of himself. I have no idea why he would be there if Alderman is only investigating Safi's death in one universe. But in this game, he's both physically here in the dead world, as well as some echo of him in the living world, or a third world that isn't named yet. God, who fucking knows why.
Help! Max, watch out!
You're given the choice whether to save Alderman or save yourself. It 100% doesn't matter whether you pull away or try to pull him back. He will blip into nothingness and never be mentioned again. Oh, and then Max punches him for some reason, because I guess she's just full psycho like everybody else in this game. I have no idea what they were going for here or how they thought they were going to resolve this. It really seemed like they didn't think any further than looks visually neat, must therefore be good plot. Max talks with Gwen, who admits that she had Safi's book deal canceled. Max asks why.
What did you tell the publisher that made them nix the deal?
I told them there was incendiary content in the book, which was true. It would have harmed a lot of people, Safi included. How much did Safi tell you about Maya Okada? The two of them were like the creepy twins in The Shining. You never saw one without the other, but then Maya took her own life.
And that's what Safi wrote about in her book?
Maya's death and everything around it. Her anger at her mom for even thinking of Caledon when she'd just lost a soulmate. Ultimately, I realized it wasn't worth putting Yasmin and Safi through all that again.
Sounds like Yasmin can tell me more about Maya.
Safia didn't even know Maya.
Did Yasmin just lie to me?
Max has lunch with Yasmin, and it's clear that Yasmin is lying about what happened. She says that Safi didn't even know Maya. Everybody else knows that they were best friends. You're given the option whether to call her out or go along with it. It doesn't really matter which one you say. At the end of the game, everything rolls out the exact same either way. You run into Amanda, who is also being suspicious and a little bit off.
Just going on a coffee run?
But your coffee's better at the Turtle.
This one tastes like ass.
Enough about me. What are you doing here? I just saw you talking to President Fayyad. What were you talking about?
Mysterious things are happening. Max finds out that Vin gave a public statement about Maya to help cover up the true nature of her suicide. He did this because Yasmin promised him his job if he did this. He is complacent in whatever is going on. We partially discover this through the most boring fucking subplot, which would be Vin and Diamond's head-to-head fighting to become the new head of Abraxas. You can let Diamond use this info as ammo. If you do, Vin will say that he's not running, and I guess that's a thing. It has no bearing in the game. Again, I sound like a fucking broken record, but I have no idea what they were trying to accomplish here.
You said in your statement that Maya was troubled. But that wasn't true, was it? Vin, what really happened?
Ask Lucas Colmenero. It all started in his class. He has Maya's blood on his hands.
I want to talk to you about Maya Okada.
Whatever you think, you know, you'll never be able to prove it.
Haha, JK, here's the evidence right here. For the second time in this game, she breaks into somebody's office by using her world-shifting powers, real creative here, and she finds, using, you guessed it, a hidden key for a lock that is 2 feet away from it that contains Maya's manuscript for a book that she was writing. Yep. Lucas stole her book. Lucas took a young woman of color who was writing her own story about her own heritage, her life, her culture, her experiences, and then he stole it, slapped some kind of American westernized take on it, and then Maya killed herself over this. So, unsurprisingly, Lucas really is the fucking bad guy of this game. But what blows my mind is somehow the final conflict isn't about him. Somehow he doesn't really properly get punished. This motherfucker should be in jail. But now that Max has this information, she's trying to figure out what to do with it. But before she can, she runs into Living World Safi, who is fucking pissed at Max because she's caught on that Max has been trying to get to the bottom of everything going on, including Safi's book getting canceled, and Safi doesn't understand why Max is doing this, so Safi lays into her.
Is something wrong?
Oh, you want to talk to me now? I've got nothing to say to you.
Safi,
What? Did you spread my business to someone else? Dig up a couple more clues? I don't have the energy for this. I think you should leave me alone for a while. Maybe a long while.
I spent so many nights like this when I was on the road. Diners, bars, hotels. I liked being alone then. Joyce still treats me like her second daughter, even after everything. Sometimes it feels like she pins the hope she had for Chloe on me. The least I could do is make her proud.
Okay, let's talk about this text exchange. Joyce texts, "Today's the anniversary, Max. Losing my daughter, losing Chloe. I still get lonely without her, but there's comfort knowing you're here because you cared as deeply about Chloe as I did, and you still do." And then Max says, "I'm so sorry, Joyce. Period." Wow. Just wow. The people who made this game must have fucking despised the original. I can't. How do you? I can't. In the first game, when Max reunites with Joyce at the diner, they talk for about 5 minutes. It's the first time we as the player get to meet Joyce, and she's lovely, and she's very caring, and she's a fierce protector of her family. And Max has missed her. And she says really nice complimentary things like, "You look so good, Joyce. You look the same." And Joyce is all happy to have Max back in Chloe's life, and it's a really beautiful exchange. Max and Joyce have a really special relationship. You know when you have that really great relationship with one of your best friend's parents? That is not something to be taken for granted. Unless, of course, you're Deck 9, and it's double exposure. In which case, she texts you on the day that Chloe died, and you just say, "I'm so sorry," period. Oh my God. That's so callous. That is so apathetic. I don't even buy any version of the excuse that Max is in too much grief to say anything else. Honestly, it would almost be better if Max left her on red, because better for Joyce to think she just hasn't seen the text than just give her that. That's not even a half-ass answer. That's barely a quarter half. That is like a 0.2% answer. And Max isn't like that. Max is a really warm character. Max is a very thoughtful character. This really and truly only adds more credence to the rumor that for whatever reason, Deck 9 just really hates the character of Chloe. Deck 9 and/or Square Enix, who really knows? And they wanted to include her as little as possible, which is a real dumb fucking move for a direct sequel to the first game. But then also they just had to go out of their way to have Max respond to aspects from Chloe's life about as positively as the people at Square Enix and Deck 9 do. There is such a, I kind of feel almost cruel level of behavior towards fans of the first game in how this game is put together. It actually just really pisses me off. Before the Storm, for all of its problems, tried to have a very warm, positive, inviting, and even romantic tone. Boy, is there just none of that here.
Hey, sport. Working hard or hardly working?
Sport? You cosplaying as a boomer dad today?
Is there one moment in this game where Amanda responds positively to something that Max says first? It's like Max can't win. Why does she have a crush on this character?
Bitch, shut your dumb eyes.
So you go on this faux date with Amanda, which you cannot skip. So even if you've romantically turned her down, if you're trying not to romance with her, you have to do this date, which is so strange and uncomfortable. And then, yeah, she sits you down and you can choose to kiss her or pull away.
I'm really sorry, Amanda. I don't think I can.
This is also the same scene where you can romance Vin. I never fully went through with the Vin romance before, and dear Lord.
Come here often?
Probably too often. Join me? Help yourself.
He literally invites her to join him and drink with him, and then she takes a drink, and the asshole says, "Help yourself." I wanna fucking smash this character's head in with a brick. I knew you could optionally kiss Vin in this scene, but when you do, Max does it because she's drunk. And she says this before she does it, which is a line that genuinely makes my skin crawl.
Whatever, I'm drunk.
Compare her kiss with Amanda, the cinematography of it, the music, the build-up. You can tell a lot of time and effort and love went into this Amanda and Max scene. And then you see this scene where the two of them get drunk, play a cringy game of smash or pass, which again, for somebody who works at the school, I guess both of them do. This is not just all kinds of level of inappropriate, but it's very creepy behavior on Vin's part. That's my personal take. I really, really, really don't like this. And then basically she concedes that she only kisses him because she's drunk, so she's feeling whatever about it. Yikes! Fucking yikes!
Are you the one who's unlucky? Or is it just everyone who ever meets you?
You stay the fuck away from me.
I think you should leave me alone for a while. Maybe a long while.
What Lucas did to Maya was deplorable. I can only imagine how painful that was for Safi. And I poked at that pain like a kid with a stick. Give me some. Maybe I should have told her the truth. I think I'd kill you. Sorry, I'm trying to fix it.
This is lonely. This is Lord knows how sure am I even of my past.
Oh, right. There's also another subplot with Diamond where she's in love with Moses. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, God fucking knows what they were trying to do with this. Max comes home to find that her place has been broken into. She goes down into her dark room where who should she run into but herself. If you've been wondering up until this point, since there are 2 universes and she's been jumping into an alternate universe, where is that Max? Where has she been? What's going on with her? This is not the answer. There's kind of a almost intentional, it seems, fake out here where we think that we're finally meeting the Max from the other universe, but that doesn't turn out to be the case. Max chases her down to the water. In a pretty genuinely surprising twist, it turns out that other Max is actually Safi, that Safi has powers and that she can imitate people. This completely negates answering the question, where is the other Max, and leads to a pretty downhill plot from here.
Don't touch my windows, my bricks or my rules, I won't hear it.
You're, getting lake water on your sofa.
So Max decides to go and change. Here you can choose from a variety of clothes. I haven't talked about this yet, but this fucking drives me nuts. There's all these cosmetics in this game, but you can't even pick and choose which to use with which. Each outdoor outfit is tied to an indoor outfit, and they are stuck together. You cannot choose one of each. Also, almost every bonus outfit changes your hair color. Almost every single one. And it's so fucking annoying, and it's so out of tone. One makes you look like a straight up zombie. It's very stupid.
Security footage of someone who looks like me, dealing with students.
Hey, sports? You're just gonna walk past me without saying hello?
The shit Robbie says I told him, it makes me sick to think about.
Me and Safi just outed each other. What now? Whatever we say tonight could change everything between us. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Are you like that girl in Frozen? Ice powers and musical numbers.
No.
So Max and Safi have a little heart-to-heart. They each talk about the revelation of their powers to each other, blah, 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 blah. Safi admits to impersonating Gwen, Vin, and Lucas.
What Lucas did to her, stealing her work, it essentially killed her. And when Gwen showed her true colors and pulled the plug on the book, I had to find some other path to vindication.
Gwen, Lucas, Vin, your revenge tour.
My justice tour.
And basically, they decide to come up with a plan together to try and out Lucas as the huge piece of shit that he is. Everything is going to go down at the Snapping Turtle on Krampus night.
hear it, Krampus, but shit. I'm still reeling.
So the plan is to sabotage this roast that is happening for Lucas. You have to hijack this projector. This is a mind-numbingly boring piece of gameplay. Okay, basically, you need to screw up the projector. So you need to go to Otherworld Moses and convince him to help you. So you have to stand at the projector and then pulse to the other world, and then Moses will tell you the instructions, and it takes a really long time, and it is very boring, and the whole time I'm just sitting here thinking, this is so wildly inefficient. Could not have all of this just been a text, you know? All right, so let's talk about these Polaroids. Throughout the entire game, there's these optional Polaroids that you can pick up, and they are confusing as hell because they are not from events that have happened in Living World. They are definitely not from events that have happened in Dead World, and there is no conclusive statement on what these things really are. There has been so much talk and so much conjecture about this online. They have absolutely driven me crazy, and I didn't really get solid answers when the game first came out. But you know what? There are two really solid theories now, in my opinion. And one of them comes from the YouTube comments section on my needlessly thorough roast of Double Exposure. This YouTuber had a great suggestion. Their theory that I think is pretty good is that the photos, these Polaroids, are actually from combined worlds, that these are from events of the two worlds combined, which is what happens at the very end of the game. Pretty solid theory. I also found a second theory, and this one I think holds a little more weight. This one I actually think might just be the answer. And this theory is that these Polaroids are from Dead World if Safi had not died. If Safi had not died, then these are the Polaroids of how the world would have gone. Because we see things like Gwen gets her tires slashed, Lucas gets his office overturned, Max, Safi, and Moses all hang out at the Krampus party. These are all theoretically Polaroids that could have happened in Dead World, which wouldn't have been Dead World if Safi had not died. Both pretty strong theories, but at the end of the day, the game conclusively gives no answer, and I just don't get it because these Polaroids have caused so much madness, chaos, drama, and confusion. They just shouldn't have included them at all. So Lucas arrives, but he's being squirmy, so you have to do something to get him to stay. Safi disguises herself as Loretta, and then she meets him on the patio where she basically just taunts him, completely not helping her own case because Safi cannot fucking help herself. You have to step in and basically lick Lucas's ass to get him to stay, whatever. During the course of this, you both find on his person a gun. Yup, that's the gun where all this stuff comes from. Now, there was a moment when Alderman, the cop, disappeared into nothing where you very vividly saw him drop his gun and they showed a close-up of it clanking to the ground. And maybe when that happened, you thought, oh my God, is that the gun? Because it's also in the exact same spot, the observatory lookout, where Max allegedly shoots him. Is that the gun that's going to be used? Nope. The second that gun drops, we never see it again. So it's actually this gun. Another fake out for God knows what reason why. All right, so the show begins, and with some help from friends, Lucas is completely humiliated and the truth is exposed. They change the slides to show the proof of Maya's writing versus Lucas's writing. The cat is out of the bag.
You're trying to turn me into this monster.
I watched you tour the country, win awards for the work you stole from her. I watched her beg you to stop. I watched you kill her. Now you expect me to watch you profit off her grave?
What young Safi here doesn't understand is it wasn't stealing. Authors frequently take inspiration from one another. I was going to give her credit, but then she... Think about what I was going through at that time. My divorce, my son. This is absurd.
Yay, the evil is defeated, except that it isn't, and he apparently still has a job at the end of this. Goody goody.
You don't know how much this means to me, Max. I'm just happy to share this moment with you.
Okay, enough. Let's celebrate.
Hey, we need to talk. Alone. And before you say, fuck off, you'll want to hear this.
Relax. I'm the one packing, remember?
Safi and Lucas take off to talk, but not before Safi leaves his gun behind, floating in the air. This game has been out, 6 months now? Still buggy as motherfucking hell.
You keep talking like you're cursed, but you're not. You're in control.
My powers didn't backfire. No one was killed by their ghostly selves. What matters most is Maya will finally get the recognition she deserves. And maybe Safi will move on. The way she smiled at me when she came off that stage tonight, I'll never forget that.
I will be there, whatever that means. But I need to close my eyes.
Wait, where's Safi?
Where's Safi? Safi wanted the truth, so I gave it to her. All of it. You don't even know what the fuck you just did, do you?
What's wrong?
My head, It was my book! I can't believe you!
I can't
do
this!
You lied to me.
You lied to me!
You lied to me.
Lied!
You lied to me.
Safi, you lied to me.
You lied!
So suddenly everyone's mind is hijacked and playing out what Safi and her mother are saying to each other at the observatory lookout. This is kind of a cool scene. I enjoy it. As you walk through the courtyard, everyone is basically having these total fucking freakouts. This is again, a very visually cool scene that I just wish worked for the greater good of this game. I don't know if the direction the plot takes really fully works for me. I also found the reveal that her mom was kind of behind a lot of this hinky shit. Predictable.
Please. I was trying to say you were trying to protect me. Say it one more time, I fucking dare you.
Don't do
Stay
this.
back!
You're losing control.
All this time I've been trying to get justice, and she's the one who's been getting in the way. Not Gwen. My own fucking mother.
Safi, remember what I told you about Arcadia Bay? About the storm? It's happening again.
Shut up! I've done everything for you. Shut up!
No!
What the fuck, Max?
But someone was listening when I called for help.
Fancy seeing you here.
Which Safi are you?
Am I even Safi? After all that? Weather's worse than I remember it.
Storm followed me.
So did I, apparently.
I've never done that before.
So Safi hands her the gun, and this scene would apparently take us up to the moment where Max is supposed to shoot her, except all the circumstances are different. Safi isn't sitting down, they're both standing. We have entered some kind of a pocket universe that allegedly would bring us to the point where Max has to shoot her, except that she doesn't, and in my opinion, she never did. Max is just the kind of person who wouldn't do this, so we really don't get an answer on why Max shot her in the first place. You can argue till the fucking cows come home that she actually did it, and then she undid it, but because in this game, we never canonically see her do it, I personally refuse to believe that she is the kind of person who would have done it.
No idea. Kind of making this up as I go.
Maybe a little bit of a Freudian slip there, double exposure writers.
Looks like I'm not dead.
So you're in the North Quad, you run into Diamond, the conversation with her doesn't really matter. You walk through a door and now you find yourself back on the rooftop from the very beginning of this game. Pretty much the next sequence of events is just you going through other sets from this game, finding people that Safi has jumped into, and then taking a double exposure Polaroid of them to essentially exorcise Safi from them, I guess. It's kind of just repetitive, and it doesn't really have a lot of power in this game. It feels a bit cheap, just like hey, we know that nothing much has happened in this game, so we thought for episode 5 we'd just take you through a highlight reel, a clip show of the game that you've not been enjoying too much. Yay.
When a door closes, the window opens. What? Where? This isn't Caledon. This is Blackwell Academy.
Yeah, so now Max is in the washroom at Blackwell Academy. I legitimately can't find the reason for this at all. I guess I actually hadn't thought about it too much until now. I mean, it was obvious with the nostalgia baiting, but watching the scene back now, what the fuck does this add? Swapping Chloe and Nathan for Max and Safi doesn't work at all. Doesn't work from a symbology standpoint, doesn't work from a plot standpoint. This is just clear, shitty nostalgia baiting. So it surprises me even less that in the next scene at the bowling alley, now part of the bowling alley has transformed into the dark room and you're strapped into the chair and it takes you about 5 seconds to get out of it. Cool.
We gaze at each other in the windowless box. It is flight or fight. Never forgive.
Smile, Lucas. Maybe double exposing the photo again? It worked with Moses.
Why is the game tutorializing me? I just did a double exposure on Moses 5 minutes ago. Does this game think that I'm that stupid? This game couldn't be easier. Anyway, so you snap a photo of Lucas, and then you can also save Loretta in the background, but I didn't because this is my 3rd playthrough, so as far as I care, she can rot. You comfort Vin, you comfort Reggie, you have a quiet moment of reflection at the bowling alley before you move on.
I have to keep telling myself this isn't a dream. It's real, and I'm the only one who can make it stop.
Do you do this a lot? Like sit and muse?
Safi?
I'd go bananas if I were this trapped in my own head all the fucking time.
Safi, where are you? Okay. Out of the frying pan and into the turtle, I guess.
Amanda, thank God. Are you okay? I don't know. Weird shit at the turtle is someone flipping the paintings or the bathroom key going missing, not this. out there?
Thought I'd be used to this.
All right, let me save you about 5 minutes here. Every time she goes through the door to leave, the room gets more and more desaturated until she gets very, very sleepy and must take a nap and have another quiet moment of reflection. But this time, in black and white.
Maybe if I lie down for a few minutes, all of these rooms will stop spinning. Let me out!
I'm back.
Jesus, Max. Warn a girl first.
Sorry.
You disappeared and I don't know where you went.
I'm okay. And I promise I'll explain everything. Later.
I have heard that promise before.
Hang on, Gwen. It's almost over.
Max! Oh!
You may have noticed by now, this final chapter is a little boring. It really is you just going through all of the different sets and snapping photos of people while they mimic things that Safi has said before. The whole surreality of it doesn't reach the heights of the other games either. The end of the first game, when you have to go through that maze with all the different characters and the flashlights and the lighthouse, or True Colors, when you have to go through the mines and you have to go through all the different places that Alex has grown up in, shit like that. That shit was awesome. This really and truly just fails to live up to that.
Why do I always gotta fall for the weird ones?
This is a very cuddly moment considering Safi just shot her mom. I guess Max is past that.
Did I do it? Are you again?
As much as I ever was. Hey, I'm taking a minute. All of that
Was pretty fucked up. Yeah.
Who needs all the king's horses and all the king's men? I've got you to put me back together again. Oof. So, any chance of everybody just forgetting I tried to rip out their soul?
Everyone I've encountered seems lucid. And the timelines seem to be combining.
Great. Fantastic.
We'll deal with it.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you were here too. You know. But I just tore everybody apart into tiny little pieces.
Okay, so here you hear Safi express some remorse. Remember that. Hang on to that. We're going to come back to that in about 5 minutes.
You didn't mean to.
Are you sure? I didn't not mean to. People like you and me, we don't belong at some B-tier liberal arts university with a bunch of washed-up bloggers ready to knife each other for tenure. We're fucking divine.
How entirely unexpected is it that this game would devolve into Safi having her X-Men First Class Magneto rising moment? The last thing that I think anybody ever wanted for this franchise, some kind of a superpowered people team up story. It could have possibly worked just having this story with Max having her powers and then Safi having hers. That could have maybe potentially worked, but the exact note that this game ends on, especially the post-credit scene, really shows that it does not work.
You're what matters to me. Just stay. And we can work it all out.
Oh my god, the scene hopping really never ends, huh?
Of course. Duh. That's why you're so confident. The figure's only person I can rely on is me.
Safi, I don't...
Last piece of me, Max. It's in you.
So it turns out the only way that Max can finally stop all this is to take a selfie. Somewhere Victoria Chase is shaking and crying and doesn't know why.
Safia. Oh my god. Yasmin.
Right. Remember the mother that was shot that you just left there? Max seems so genuinely surprised. I think she actually forgot.
Clean break. Remember?
It's all right, Maxine. If Safia wants to pretend I'm not here, well, that is her right.
Right, so now you'll see that she has zero sympathy for her actions. Mm-hmm.
I can be anyone, Max.
I can be your new boyfriend.
I can be a cute girl at the bar. I can even be...
Safi, stop it! Keep that thing away from me!
You can make her forget she saw that, right? Better yet, you can make me unshoot her. You have an instant undo button on life, Max. Why not use it?
If you think that's how it works, you don't know anything.
So teach me, Miss Caulfield.
So now comes the big final choice. Refuse Safi or agree with Safi. And if you've been paying attention so far, you might not be very surprised to learn that other than a slight change in dialogue, this has no effect. This is the big ending. Every single fucking Life is Strange game has had two major choices at the end, and with Life is Strange 2, technically 4, and they all go in different directions. They really do. But with this one, it's either Safi goes, thank you so much, or Safi goes, oh, well, I guess we're not friends anymore. And then in both versions, she walks away. I'm not even going to show you both versions because I simply cannot be fucking bothered. I am not going to put in my A+ effort for a C- game. Okay? I'm so fucking tired of this game. This video has taken me so long to make because my burnout factor when I go into editing is just, it's so let's move on.
Change of heart, storm
So apparently both worlds have combined now. I don't know. I guess that's the best solution they could come up with for this absolute clusterfuck. So everybody on campus has double memories. It is very unclear if this extends past the universe. Was this a pocket universe? Like living in Dead World that only existed on campus? Because now that the two worlds are combined, these were parallel worlds. Shouldn't the whole universe be affected? I mean, it's very clear that the writers of this did not think past the literal small story here, and that pisses me off to no end. I could not come up with a good solution for this either. This is a messy ass story. I really feel like they just shouldn't have meddled in spaces where they couldn't get themselves out of it, you know?
In whatever reality, all those moments between us were real.
Both realities somehow got smushed together in the storm. Now everything's the same, but not. That storm haunted me for years. I can't let this one haunt me too.
For the final time, Max returns to the Snapping Turtle, where everyone is patiently waiting for her to explain what the fuck happened. And they'll be waiting a very long time because she does not have a full explanation. Nobody does. This scene is kind of meant to be that, it's kind of like that First Class scene where in the end it's like, we've got everyone together and Max has revealed her powers to everybody and now just wait till you see what's next. And what's next? Honestly, I have no idea. It's so unclear what they were planning for a sequel, and I legitimately don't think we're ever gonna get it. But a really dark, curious part of me also kind of wants to see it. You know how sometimes people go to NASCAR hoping for a car crash? That's kind of my feelings about a sequel.
Maybe we should go easy on her. Wait for her to pick up the pieces.
Oh, and then Moses says maybe we should go easy on her because, well, Safi never fucked with Moses. Safi said very clearly that Moses was off limits. And I guess when your friend is basically becoming a supervillain, but they've never hurt you, you can be their advocate and be like, maybe let's go easy on her. Maybe let's throw her in jail for shooting her fucking mother and then running away. You know, maybe that.
Have you on my side? I feel fine some days.
I think it's time I explained a few things. It won't always make sense. And I'm not proud of every decision I made. But it's the truth. What's coming next is going to be difficult. For all of us. But we're going to get through it together. This time, I'm not going anywhere.
Is that not a very intentional shitting on Save Chloe ending? This time I'm not going anywhere? As in reference to the ending where she saves Chloe and then the two of them hop out of Arcadia Bay? Is that not such an offensive way to end this game? Oh, but it's not over yet because now we have all-time world contender for one of the worst post-credit scenes to anything ever. So Diamond, one of the most nothing burger characters in this fucking game, has a nosebleed, and who should show up in the exact same outfit that she absconded in but Safi, who's here to tell her that she recognizes that nosebleed and I guess she has powers or something. And she's all like, come with me. I guess I'm forming a team of lame ass fucking people or something. And yeah, that's it. That's the game.
That's flattering. I've seen nosebleeds like that before. So you can run, or you can follow me and get some answers. Your choice.
Playing Life is Strange Double Exposure is truly a surreal experience. While it's thrilling and often rewarding to be back in the shoes of Max Caulfield, the game's storytelling, world building, and faithfulness to the 2015 game leaves something to be desired. The gameplay especially hits a new low for the franchise. Double Exposure is proof that sparkling visuals and a pretty soundtrack cannot extricate a story weighed down by constant contrivances and a baffling lack of internal logic. Strip away the music and the glossy visuals, and, much like Before the Storm, what's left is a hollow, uninspired experience, and one that may very well go down in Life is Strange history as a franchise killer. Thank you so much for joining me in this review of Double Exposure. I swear, hand to God, this is the last time I am ever doing a review of this game, and very likely the last time I will ever play it. With this video, I am very glad to say that mentally, I can put this shit to bed. Next up, we have the one that started it all, my final review in my Life is Strange retrospective, The Lingering Legacy of Life is Strange. I am very excited, as well as feeling slightly trepidatious about doing this one because I really want to get it right. This one is going to be fun because aside from just reviewing and doing a Let's Play, I'm also going to be talking about the wildest fan theories, cut content, and earlier builds of the game, including some of the what if gameplay. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned for that. Until then, I hope you have some fun, I hope you get some rest, I hope you never play Double Exposure again, and I will see you all very soon.